So news came out today. To call it news is not exactly accurate because it was not a news story by any means. But Tyreek Hill was on a podcast and said some words that definitely has gotten some Miami Dolphins fans eyebrows perched. And that was along the lines of that he plans on retiring once his contract runs up with the Miami Dolphins. And now just to paint the picture of what that entails, Tyreek Hill signed a 5-year deal with the Miami Dolphins, averaging around $30 million a year. Excuse me, a 4-year deal with the Miami Dolphins. This upcoming season, he only has a base salary of $1.1 million. But you look to his final year of his deal, $43.9 million. So a really backloaded contract. The Dolphins have a potential out after 2025, his third year into it. And we have to swallow about $22 million worth of dead cap. But getting to the meat of it, Tyreek Hill stated that once he is finished with his contract with the Miami Dolphins, he plans on retiring from the NFL and going more into the business world, that he's excited to pursue other ventures outside of football. And naturally, as a Dolphins fan, as Dolphins fans as we are, we look at that like, wait a minute. You're already looking at the exit. You're already thinking about where you're going to be beyond the Dolphins, and also not just beyond the Dolphins. You're not planning on re-signing a contract. You would be 32 years old when your contract runs out, and you plan on just leaving. You don't plan on re-signing. You don't plan on being here till you're in your late 30s. Naturally, as Dolphins fans, that is something worth to raise your eyebrows at. Now, I'd like to look at Tyreek Hill as a player. Tyreek Hill as a player, again, would be 32 years old going into 33 in 2027, and this is around the time where he would retire. Tyreek Hill is a player who is, put it frankly, short in stature, who is extremely reliant on his explosive speed, his ability to make defenders miss, to get open. He has thrived on that. That is what has made him a top 5 receiver, arguably the best wide receiver in the entire NFL. He has a special set of skills that not many receivers have. Looking at a lot of the top receivers, you don't see a lot of guys as short as Tyreek Hill. You look at Davante Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Evans, just to name a few. You see, not even necessarily the size of Mike Evans, but you see guys that are 6 foot plus. You see your CeeDee Lambs. You see these bigger body receivers, your Justin Jefferson, that they don't have a lot of muscle per se, but they're not small guys by any means. And while Tyreek Hill, him and Jalen Waddle, obviously Hill more so than Waddle, they're not big dudes. So what I would say about that is I don't necessarily know whether Tyreek Hill at 33 years old is going to be an effective wide receiver. Now, good players find a way to contribute. Good players find a way to be good players. They just find a way to get it done. You see that with all the all-time greats. They transition to different segments of their career. They have slightly different play styles, where you might rely on your quick twitch, your speed, your athleticism. When you're younger, you then learn, you become a more refined route runner. You find ways to take advantage of tiny little gaps in space, where Tyreek Hill has never had just a tiny gap in space. He's just known to get open almost every single play. Him at 33 years old, I really question whether that he will be as effective at that. I'm sure he'll find a way to still be a good player, still be a player that can contribute to the Miami Dolphins in a nature that is warranted of him being, at the very least, on the team. He's had an incredible career so far. Kansas City Chiefs won a Super Bowl, came over to the Miami Dolphins, was Offensive Player of the Year up until the last month or so, kind of coinciding with Tua going down. Maybe he lost out a little earlier just based off of how incredible Justin Jefferson is at football. In my opinion, Justin Jefferson is the single best wide receiver in football today. Outside of Justin Jefferson, he was the Offensive Player of the Year because of all the skill sets I previously mentioned. At his size, his athleticism, his speed, his ability to get open and to make plays. I mean, look at him grabbing the football on the ground against the Chargers and running around a pile and taking it to the house. How many guys just do that? How many dudes have that breakneck speed? He's probably the fastest, talented receiver in the league. You take away John Ross, if he even is on a team right now, There might be some guys that are technically faster, but there is nobody with the talent of Tyreek Hill. There is nobody with the consistency of Tyreek Hill that can run that fast, that can get that open. You don't do that. At 33 years old, though, I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if his body is going to withstand the amount of torque he forces on himself. I don't know if the things that he does to his body, all this athleticism he shows in a 5'8" stature, what type of toll is that going to have on him? I can't think off the top of my head any sort of major injuries that he's had. He was available all season for us. He had some little injuries here and there. I believe he had a groin injury that hurt him in the halfway, but like two-thirds part of the season. So stuff like that, soft tissue injuries, you're more likely to see them come once you cross 30. The injuries start to stack up once you cross 30. He doesn't take a lot of hits, but if he starts to lose a step, he's going to start to take hits. He's going to start to have his body bent in ways he shouldn't. That is just the reality of football. We've seen Tua have his body bent in numerous ways that he shouldn't because he lacks athleticism. I don't think Tyreek Hill is ever going to get to Tua level of unathleticism. But when he's 33 years old, he's not going to be as effective at what he does as he does in his 29-year-old body, as he did when he was 24 years old. It is just physically impossible to put that much beat, that much mileage on your body and turn up 5 years down the road and expect the same results out of that body. It's just not going to happen. Can he still be a very talented player? Absolutely. Can he still be an effective player for the Miami Dolphins? Absolutely. Will be of effect of $43.9 million in 2026? I hope so. I hope he's worth every penny. If Tua is still on the team, we're starting to pay Tua some serious money. And just like we did this year, I'm sure we could find a way to restructure his deal to make a lot of it a signing bonus and make that cap a lot easier to swallow. And maybe we take that out and accept the $22 million of dead cap instead of the virtually $44 million of his base salary. Maybe the Dolphins want out before Tyreek Hill even wants out. But Tyreek Hill saying that he wants out of the Miami Dolphins is no surprise. Not necessarily. Let me rephrase that. Tyreek Hill saying he's going to want out after his contract runs out when he is 33 years old does not bring any sort of concern to me. The average career of a football player, they say, is about 3 years. It's probably a little bit less than that. It's probably closer to 2.7. The fact that he's gotten this far in his career, just based on statistics, is incredible. That means he's had a very successful career and he's been paid as such, and he will continue to get paid part of that 4-year, $120 million contract. He'll continue to be paid very handsomely. But when he gets to 33, when he gets out of the 2026 season, if he retires, I won't really be bothered, just based off what he's projected to be. I am very confident that for the next couple seasons, we are going to get the same exact Tyreek Hill, bar injury, that we saw this year. We're going to get to see the same Tyreek Hill that led the league in Offensive Player of the Year voting almost all year long. I'm very confident we have nothing to worry about with Tyreek Hill. So if he plays like that, if he balls out for us and walks away into the sunset, albeit, I'll be able to tip my cap, say thank you for your time with the Miami Dolphins. Enjoy your retirement. Go be successful at something. Go change the world. Go be a great businessman. Whatever he wants to do. If he plays out the rest of his contract with the Dolphins, continues to be a great player, a great leader, and he decides to walk away at the end, hey, that's all you can ask for from players. All you can ask for is, with the time that they have, to give you 110%, be worth their contract, and when they decide to walk away, they walk away. You might be a little upset to see him go, and the fact that he's already talking about that future, that point in his career, yeah, it kind of sucks to have to think about that about one of your star players. You never want to see them go. You never want to see Tyreek Hill leave the Miami Dolphins. But it's a reality. It's going to happen one day. And he has the consciousness, he has the ability to set aside the fact that he's still a player of the Dolphins, still come out with 110% every time he goes out there in the field, but also still recognize there is life without football. And that life without football, I hope is great for him. I hope he's successful in anything he does. But don't worry. We still have a lot of time with Tyreek Hill as a Miami Dolphin.